Major story this morning here. The White House sending over a draft resolution to Congress today. The president arguing that ISIS poses a grave threat. A 3-year authorization would not impose geographic restrictions, but there is a request to ban what's called enduring ground combat operations. That's causing some confusion. Here's the veteran and now Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton talking about that with Greta last night.
It's always better, though, if the Congress and the president speak with one voice when it comes to national security. Unfortunately, the problem right now is not speaking with one voice. The president has largely been mute.
Well, Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, Fox News strategic analyst, is here with me now. It's just got the letter here. I'm just going to read you one line, okay? If left unchecked, ISIL will pose a threat beyond the Middle East, including the United States homeland. That's a long way from JV 13 months ago. Colonel, will this pass?
Well, in some form it will pass, and it should pass, and it's important because Congress represents the American people. And when it comes to fighting Islamist extremism, we need to all be on the team. We need to all be on side. And so this is very important. But nonetheless, Bill, the letter itself, the language is really troubling, because this is the letter of a nervous lawyer, not of a bold commander-in-chief. There are so many qualifications in there and limitations. It's ridiculous. And again, the president is always focused on his domestic base, domestic politics, not on strategy. Look, none of us want an enduring large troop presence on the ground in the Middle East. We don't want that. Of course, nobody does. But you don't tell the enemy what you're not going to do. And this is... It sounds like a contract negotiation in Hollywood where he's got all these stipulations and caveats. Look, no, we need to fight these guys and win, and you do whatever it takes to win, and you don't rule anything out, at least not in public. So I'm encouraged by the fact that he's actually getting Congress involved, discouraged by the fact that we have all these caveats. But here's the poison pill. Note this part. He wants a 3-year limit on this authorization. That is a poison pill for the next president, be it Hillary or a Republican or whatever, because you're telling them as soon as the next president hits the ground, they've got to go for another authorization of military force with all the other stuff on their plate.
But
also,
maybe the circumstances change at that point, Colonel, and you need something stronger than what's on the table right now.
Well, you're going to need something stronger.
I want to get some very critical points on this. That phrase about no enduring ground troops. Now, the White House is saying they're trying to satisfy the right and the left with this language. But what is the suggestion as to why you would put that phrase, no enduring ground troops, in that letter?
It's what I would call bushwhacking. I mean, the White House cannot get over the fact, that George W. Bush ever existed. And so that's a dig at the occupations. Look, Bush made a lot of mistakes. His administrations, those occupations trying to turn Afghanistan into Colorado, were disastrously wrong-headed. But it's really very much like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Bush's porridge was too hot. Obama's is much too cold. And all we, the American people, can do is pray that the next president gets the porridge just right. But that 3-year limitation, watch that, Bill, because that has told Islamic State again that if they can hold out for 3 years, they're good to go. I mean, we've got to stop doing this to ourselves.
We'll take that point you make to heart there. Another headline out of Afghanistan, perhaps the mission extends a little longer than the end of 2015. Watch that. But this headline about 20,000 foreign fighters have gone into Iraq and Syria at unprecedented rates based on the intelligence we're getting now. It's bigger than Afghanistan, it's bigger than Pakistan, it's bigger than all the wars before. Quickly, Colonel. What does that tell us about the road ahead on this war?
Well, it tells us that contrary to the White House and State Department's ludicrous claims, Islamic State has not been stopped. It is growing. It is spreading. It's getting bigger. We're killing some of them. We're not killing enough. And this is a huge threat. But, also you mentioned Afghanistan. It's another example of the president putting false limitations on stuff. Now we've got to go back, fix it. This president needs to stop saying what we won't do and just get on with the job of doing what we need to do, and that is kill terrorists no matter what it takes.
Thank you, Colonel. Ralph Peters from Washington. We'll get reaction from our lawmakers, too, about how they're receiving this throughout the morning. Thank you, sir. Ralph Peters there in D.C.
Thank you, Bill.
Here's Martha.